Today we're going to cover adding an HTTP item in ArcGIS Monitor. You can follow along on enterprisearcgis.com for steps and documentation. We'll start by selecting the HTTP counter type, right-clicking and selecting Add. Notice a new HTTP item was added, and we'll start by entering a name. I recommend to start with the health check counter, so I'll put in health check. And the request type will pick no security, and this means that no authentication or token is required. Next we'll enter a URL, and notice there's a number of health check URL examples here. You can copy and paste in the appropriate one. I recommend to start with the ArcGIS server one, and then later on you can add the portal one and geoanalytics if you have it available. So I already have my URL and I'll just paste it in. Next we'll put a find string value, and in the case of health check it returns a value of true if it's working correctly and a value of false if there's a problem. So I'll put in true and false. And next I'll pick a sample interval of 5 minutes, and optionally you can put a description in here. I'll just call it health check production, and we'll click the test button, and the test was successful. We got a value of true, and so there's our find string value of 1 indicating it was found. We also have our return code of 200, response time, server time, and network time. So everything looks good. We'll click the save button, and now every 5 minutes we'll be collecting metrics on the health check. Next we're going to add a new HTTP item, and this time we're going to monitor the Sample World Cities service and use the ArcGIS token request type. And next we'll put in the URL, and I've got one here, and we're going to be going to the Sample World Cities and make a request for a PNG image of this bounding box. And so in the find string I'm going to put in PNG, and so if it is successful it'll return a PNG in the HTTP response body. And I want to make sure there's no errors here, so I'll put in error for find string not. Next I need to put in a token URL, and you can just copy and paste in the appropriate token URL for your environment. I'll just go ahead and copy and paste that in. Next I need to pick a credential. You can use the ArcGIS Server Administrative credential or an ArcGIS Server Publisher, and if you need to add it to the list here you can click the Add Credential button. Next I need to pick the sample interval, and I'll pick 5 minutes, and then I can put a description in, and I'll just call this one Sample World Cities. And next I'll click the test button, and it was able to find the PNG successfully, and I'm getting my return code 200, and I get the response time, server time, network time, and everything looks good. So I'll click the save button, and now every 5 minutes I'll be collecting metrics on Sample World Cities. One note, there's no need to monitor every ArcGIS server service through HTTP. Just pick a few representative ones that are important to your organization and focus on the metrics for those. Next we're going to add a new HTTP item, and this time we're going to use the Federated Windows Authentication option. And so I'll call this Sample World Cities Fed and pick the type as Windows Authentication for Federated. Notice that for both the federated and non-federated types, we're using the Windows username and password that's running the monitoring service. So I'll pick that option, and next I need to put in the URL. So I'll just copy and paste it in, and we're already familiar with the Sample World Cities URL, and this one returns an image which is a PNG, and so I'll use PNG in our find string, make sure it's working correctly, and then for the find string not, we want to make sure if there's any errors that we're checking for that. Next I need to put in the token URL, and for federated environments this will be the portal token URL, so you can go ahead and copy and paste in the appropriate domain credentials option, federated with portal, whether it's using the web adapter or not. You can just go ahead and put in the correct URL for your environment. Next I need to pick a credential, and in this case it's going to be running as the Windows user that is running the ArcGIS Monitor service, and if you need to add a credential you can put it in there. And next I'll pick a sample interval of 5 minutes, and optionally you can put a description in. I'll just call this Sample World Cities Federated, and we'll click the test button, And the test was successful. There's our PNG, and there's all of our metrics. So everything looks good. We'll click Save, and we'll be monitoring this federated environment every 5 minutes. Now we're going to log into the ArcGIS Monitor server webpage, and we'll go to the Categories Web Report, where we can look at the metrics for HTTP, and we can click on response time, response code, network time, and also find string metrics for all the different items. And there's the health check, the sample world cities token, and the sample world cities federated, and all the statistics. Thanks for watching.